Okay, last group, group 4. Let's start with Sophia's work. Overall, very clean, sophisticated. I like where this is going. Sophia, just remember that we're not relying on any graphic aids whatsoever, so we need to get rid of these. I think your type treatment is nice with the scale that you're using compared to the other areas of your letter forms and your title treatments. So I'm also just wondering why there's so much white space here. I like it. I'm just wondering if there's a way to include that on this area right here where it says vieja. So see if there's a way to bring that in somehow. And I would like to tell you to open up the spacing in between your type because it becomes a little too hard to read when you zoom out. Okay, so just open it up a little bit more. That's what happens when we use white type, a serif typeface, which is on white on black. So you want to just be a little bit mindful of what you're doing with the white type on black. Okay. And I'd say you're getting a little too close. Recipe and preparation are a little bit too close, so maybe space them out a little bit more. And I would like to see some kind of a pull quote here. Maybe somewhere here, or it's a line down here, but something that just breaks this up a little tiny bit, so it's not just two columns. So see if there's something you can pull or add over here just to give a little bit more variation. For your connotative, I think this looks great. I like how structured it is and just the different movements going on, especially with the title treatment. And I like how things are definitely in alignment. I would just be a little bit careful with the amount of space you're using here, which is nice, to kind of open this up a little bit here or bring this area right here closer to the edges of the title, similar to what you have here. But I'm more inclined to bring it more out a little bit more, kind of like this area right here for more space. Or you can shrink down your title just a tiny bit and center it between these two pieces of information. Okay, but I think these have definitely come a long way in terms of stacking your titles and your instructions and ingredients, and also using the bold for your measurements. And also careful with how close you're getting with recipe and preparation. And also, you can probably use a space right here, like the space you've added right here, like a return between recipe preparation and pat roast dry with pepper. Okay, but I think this is very nice. It's a very elegant type treatment and very interesting way of looking at a recipe. So we're definitely thinking about ways of how we can introduce recipes typographically that are not very traditional looking. So we're rethinking the recipe card. And I think this helps for yours, and I think you just need to do some minor changes for your denotative, and your connotative I would say very minimal, just spacing right here and right here. But I think you're almost set with this one to call done. Let's move on to Vanessa's work. So Vanessa is doing how to make Japanese fluffy pancakes. This is the denotative, and this is the connotative. Okay, Vanessa, let's evaluate how we can make this a little bit stronger. It just looks like a block of text on your whole page, and there's not much typographic variation going on. And I would like to see a little bit more push, just to see how we can place the steps and the instructions, as well as the ingredients. There just seems to be not much going on with the text right here. It just seems to be like laid out as it is without any variation. And we definitely want to break this block a little bit just by evaluating how we can break up our overall layout, like maybe how to make Japanese, I would say how to make, and then next line Japanese, maybe fluffy and pancakes could be on top of each other, kind of stacked like pancakes are, and see where that takes you from there. Just a little bit more creativity, because it's just a block of text and we'd like to see a little bit more from you. And I would say the same goes for your denotative. I like where you're going with the chunks of paragraphs here. I would like to see maybe a little bit more variation with maybe the ingredients, like how much I'm using or how much time I'm seeing here. So maybe the numbers can have some bold treatment to them, or and then right here with the ingredients, maybe the ingredients are probably shaped in a different manner, but I just feel like we're just pasting a block of text without much going on with the layout. So try to see if you can revisit some of those elements. I don't mind a centered layout like this, but it just feels like, there's not enough variation for me to see. So see if we can look at maybe some of the work that we have discussed with other students, and if it sparks any interest somehow, use that to your advantage for your layouts. Okay. Let's go to Matt's work. So Matt is doing jalapeno margarita. This is the denotative and this is the connotative. Okay, let's take a look at the denotative. So Matt, I think it looks a little too traditional, a little too much like an actual recipe card. And we're trying to avoid that look where we have the title, the ingredients, and then the directions. We want to be a little bit more experimental with our layout and see if there's a way for us to break that symmetry a little bit. It's nice and clean, but I just want a little bit more variation with the denotative, using the grid and breaking up the grid somehow, maybe stacking jalapeno margarita. Honestly, I think using this type treatment with a drop shadow is not really helping. And then the fact that it's green on green makes it difficult to read that we go straight to directions and we don't really read jalapeno margarita. So think about that. And then I think you're using way too much space right here. And your text is pretty much taking up the whole layout when we need some breathing room around the edges here. So see if there's something we can do to break up that blockiness with your information. Okay, so let's revisit this. For your connotative, I think I would say the same. There's some areas of white space that are really standing out, like here, and like here. And I'm wondering if there's a way that we can bring some of those a little bit closer together and maybe shrink down the titles here so that it gives us a little bit more breathing room around your layout here, because literally every corner is covered with text. And we want to see a little bit more white space around our layout, just so we can read a little bit more easily. And then we want to use some kind of grid to align things. So I like that we're doing this to jalapeno, and then maybe aligning certain areas to that layout. Maybe margarita could have a similar effect as long as it doesn't distort the readability. But yeah, see what you can come up with. I think right now we're just looking at too much type and not enough space around it. So we need to interact with the white space of our page. Okay, so that kind of concludes the critiques. Overall, I think everyone's doing good, and with every round, people are improving. And feel free to not just look at your critique, definitely visit some of the other videos that people are in and take a look at their work. If this were an actual class, I'd have all your assignments hung up for you all to see, like a gallery, because it does help ask each other questions and see how things are done, how their approach is. So really take advantage of that and use that to inspire some ideas on your end, and see how far you can push some of your layouts. Okay. So that brings me to the end of our critiques, and your assignment will be in Blackboard.